Hey guys, it's Cody. Happy Monday to you. This was a special Monday because Apple brought us a Showtime event. It had nothing to do with hardware or a new phone. Instead, it was all about services. So I've been on the couch recently recovering from a surgery. I took in the show myself, and boy was it a show. I was sitting there and I thought, man, we live in a technology saturated culture. That's all we do. That's what you're doing right now watching this video, is consuming another piece of technology. It could be really good for us, but it can also control our lives in ways that we don't even realize. So I think it's a healthy conversation to have, and I thought we would maybe recap what Apple was launching today, and then we could also have a discussion maybe from the perspective of just what that means as a family and considering it through the parenting lens. First, Apple started off with a really interesting take on news and media. It's really nothing new, but they are really all about putting everything they can from all different brands and news outlets into one place. So today's big announcement was that their news would include magazines. It didn't mean much to me, but I do understand that they're trying to get you to take in this subscription to have something where let's give you a few more pieces of content that you can consume on a daily basis. They effectively achieved that. Here's another big part of today that I think there was already rumblings that Apple was going there, but it was in the money payment system that they're already digging their hands into. They just can't seem to stay out of anybody else's space. So they launched this, Apple Card, right? And so we've already have the wallet and the ability to use Apple Pay on the phones, but they've completely dedicated themselves to a credit card service that even has a physical card to it. Now, what's interesting is they tell you all the perks about using it. There's no annual fee, there's no late fees, there's no fees essentially to it, which is amazing that there's this idea of no accountability to how we spend our money, but whatever. It does offer you their own point system of earning points, and it's everyday cash in the sense that you get your rewards every day and it puts it on your phone, nice and convenient for you to spend. I think they did this right as well. If you have an Apple device, it might be something you want to consider, but I'm gonna have a pause moment of the recap of this event and just speak towards money for a second. Money is a devil and it can absolutely control your life. So I want to say this to you: be careful on how you use your money. All of this stuff is about money at the end of the day, where whether or not you spend it or not and how you spend it. And I once heard from a very wise person that we often make the mistake of using a system of spending our money that's called balance-based transactions, where if there's a balance in our account, we're spending that money. That's a horrible way to live. I think I'm going to do an entire episode or maybe even a little series on how to spend your money wisely as we consider what it means and what's at stake when it comes to a family and just carrying out your life. So we'll get to that one day, but I just want to say that now. Be careful with how you spend your money. If you don't have it, don't spend it. Here's what I do love about what Apple gave us with their Apple Pay system is finally a very aesthetically pleasing and common sense, simple interface for managing your money. A lot of us like the idea of an envelope cash system where we have different categories of budget, but we live in an electronic world, and so Apple finally gave us the ability to see categories and know how much we're spending where online, because that's typically where our money goes, or at least in some fashion each and every day. So I love that concept that they gave us. I'm actually fascinated that credit card companies haven't helped us more with this, except for some other third-party companies like Mint. I think that a budget-based system is really helpful for all the technology we have in these phones. They ought to be providing us those services to help us spend our money well. So we'll see how that goes. I think the physical card of Apple is just a funny little cheap shot at the world of here's one more piece of hardware we can control that's titanium in the consumer's hand, but we'll see how it goes. The next piece was really interesting as well. It had to surround gaming. Now, I think gaming, at least in the world today, and being quite the nerd myself, there's really two different pockets of gamers now. There's the console PC gamers that really are critical and follow and are expecting big things from games and that kind of traditional gamer sense. But then there's also the mobile gamer, and I really think that they consider themselves in two categories even if they don't realize it. And so Apple continues to target the mobile gamer. They set up the Apple Arcade, where finally I think this was a long time coming, put in an emphasis on a subscription-based gameplay. So you could play all the games within their arcade area of the app, and it allows you to play all the games you want and all that you can. Really great concept, especially I think for families where you've got kids that have maybe shorter attention spans, and this is the opportunity for you to provide them something new through the avenue of your devices that you already have around your home, instead of having to go out and buy a few $100 device. Now, you may be a casual mobile gamer yourself and want to take this in. I think it's a great concept. It's family sharing again, where you can all share this subscription together. I think that's smart. I think that's the world we're headed to, and we're used to that in the Netflix and Hulu sharing password world. They said, why don't we commit to that? So it was a smart concept, but it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts and how much they can keep up with the quality content that's coming out from the big AAA brands that are out there when it comes to games. So, it's gonna be a very competitive world, and that honestly is I think that's a big glimmer of hope as a consumer. Anytime companies can compete in a shared space like this is good for us. Now, typically the prices end up going up, but I think the quality of content and the threat of other innovation coming from outside is always a good thing for companies to push themselves to the next level. Another piece of what they're offering today from the Showtime event was really what a lot of us were expecting this whole time, was a TV service. Now, I don't think it was quite what we wanted or what we thought it would be, but I do think it's in the right direction. So they said that they revamped their TV app, which I'll be honest, I don't even use. I've got an iPhone, I've got a Mac, and so, it's something that I really haven't invested in because I have other consoles and TVs that provide me with my shows, including Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and DirecTV Now. So that was something that didn't catch my eye until they finally said, that they're gonna be expanding their app to TVs and smart devices, including the Roku and the Amazon Fire Sticks and TVs. Fascinating. If anything, that's a huge win as a consumer, because Apple, I really think, finally conceded to this notion that they can't win on this. We're going to keep you on our ecosystem of only our devices, and that's enough. It's not enough anymore. Google and Amazon and even Microsoft have figured out that people have their devices, and it's not always going to be the monopoly across the board of one brand. They said we need to deliver our content, our services to as many places as possible, and that's exactly what they did today. Now, it's not here yet, but that is good. Now, if the event stopped there, I was definitely depressed about the fact that they didn't wow you with anything new or something out of the woodworks. But what ended up happening was their dedication towards, really, I feel like the bulk of the time, speaking to the idea of storytelling and what visual media is all about. And so they committed a great length of time of this event to point us towards, we're going to be rolling out original content with TV Plus. And I think that's a genius opportunity for them. They have the money to do it. They rolled out the red carpet almost literally and showcased and paraded a number of celebrities, including Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, Oprah, Big Bird, the list goes on. But what they did was said, we know that we need to make our own content. They see the spaces that are out there like Netflix that are doing a phenomenal job with it, and said we can do that, and they're gonna try to do it better. Again, it's another competitive space, and I think it's great. They wowed us with a really cool spectacle of a video, dedicating themselves to storytelling. But here's what it does, is it does make you peel an eye that direction to say, is their streaming service gonna be worth it? Because they didn't list the price, and they said it's coming this fall. So we know that the price tag is gonna be a little higher than we all want it to be. It's gonna be one more cord-cutting streaming service that we've gotta weigh and consider if we want it in our lives. But the original content does look juicy. They have a lot of good steps in the right direction. All that to say, I think that it's interesting to realize that we as consumers are sometimes told what we want to watch. And that's a struggle for me. I was very much an early adopter in jumping away from cable. I've saved my family and my parents and a bunch of other people a lot of money on getting away from cable and this big massive bill. And Apple said, hey, pay for what you want. And they said, hey, we've got, you know, the TV channels rolling out where you could pick which channels you want to use. I think it's a little bit of a gimmick, but you know, we're still gonna buy into it. We can't get all of our content all in one place, so we're gonna have to start a la carte, you know, this streaming services if you haven't already. So you have to weigh that as an individual or maybe as a family, whatever it may be. It's only going to continue, and especially in the world where net neutrality and that conversation is taken over about how internet service providers are going to charge us more to provide a better quality of service. As we continue to consume content, it's only going to get tougher and more expensive. I think Apple did it right. We're gonna buy into it. We're gonna love the shows. They're gonna win awards. They're gonna have a great time with it. I think Apple also lost today in admitting that they can't get us to use their hardware everywhere they want us to. The fact that you're gonna be able to get Apple TV apps on non-Apple devices is amazing to me, and I think it's a good thing for them. And I think that it actually entices me more to maybe consider using their app in the future. Something that I think that Apple has lost in the last couple years is this wow factor, this inspiration factor to their products. And in some weird way, I actually think that they know that. And they want to give us that wow and that inspiration through the content that they're providing us through their products. And so that's what I felt like they went for today, where they rolled out all of these celebrities and big names, these storytellers and creators, to draw us in and to be wowed and say, this is the way you will get it if you want it, is through our service. Will I try this in the future? I'll probably try it out and definitely let you know my thoughts on it once we can get our hands on it. But for now, I think that it was a fun another day of a little bit of a mini holiday for us nerds out there that love watching these tech events. The jury's out on how it will go, but I think that we live in a saturated world of content. And I think you have to be careful of that, because whether you have kids that are young or older, or even how you spend your time each day, you've got to be careful about how you consume. So often we want to be wowed or inspired through whatever window we're looking in, whether it be a TV or your phone, and we're forgetting to live our lives and make our own stories. So even though you may be watching this right now and taking in something, I want to challenge you to remember that sometimes we have to put this thing down and get outside, go invest in those relationships that we're a part of. So I hope you enjoyed this just little mini knee-jerk reaction to what Apple and other big companies offer us every couple months with announcements. It's something that I think we all experience together when we're watching or catching up on the news, so we might as well talk about it. Let me know your thoughts about what you thought of Apple's services that they announced today, and maybe how you consider technology and media in your life. We've got to encourage each other together. So remember, stay dappy, and I'll see you guys next time.